Hello friends, welcome to my little corner on the interwebs. If you're new here, my name is Kathlena and I'm autistic with a heavy dash of ADHD. I make videos about autism and neurodiversity, so if that's something that you're interested in, be sure to click the subscribe button below. And to those of you who have already clicked it, I want to say thank you so much. I am so happy and grateful to have you here as a part of my pack. I may make the videos, but it's really all of you who bring this channel to life, and I just want to say thank you. In today's video, we are going to be talking about autistic burnout. We're going to be talking about what it is, what it looks like in our day-to-day life, what causes it, and some strategies to help overcome it if you happen to find yourself there. And at the end of the video, I'm going to be talking about my own personal experiences with burnout, what that's looked like, and how I've managed to make my way out. So if that's something that you want to see, be sure to watch until the end. So what is autistic burnout? Essentially, it is a state of physical, emotional, and mental exhaustion that's often accompanied by loss of skill that a lot of autistic adults can experience. So what does this look like for somebody who is experiencing it? It really does vary greatly, but overall, it's an overwhelming sense of pure exhaustion. You may have difficulty managing emotions and might be prone to more sadness or anger. Burnout alone can contribute to heightened anxiety or more of a chance of experiencing depression. There was a really great video that Asperger's from the Inside did that really explained the differences between burnout and depression because they can look quite similar. So I'll be sure to link his video down below in the description, and I would highly recommend you going and watching it after this video. Burnout alone can increase the need for stimming as well as becoming more sensitive to sensory input and difficulty with change. There are multiple different things that can play into the likelihood of an autistic individual experiencing burnout. One of them is camouflaging or masking, which is a strategy that a lot of autistic people use to help them blend in with neurotypical people. Some other things that can increase the likelihood of an autistic person experiencing burnout would be suppressing stimming, as well as overstimulation, heightened stress, and executive functioning demands. Burnout can last for a day, for a week, for a month, multiple months, or even in some cases, years. I know that personally, I just went through the longest stretch of burnout that I've ever experienced, and it was a solid 6 months. So how do you recover if you find yourself in a burnout? I think it really depends on the severity. If you just had a really busy, chaotic day the day before and you find yourself in burnout that evening or the following day, I think it can be as simple as just removing yourself from that situation and giving yourself some time to be alone and rest. For long-term burnout, I think that it's really important to identify the main triggers. That could be a demanding job or stressful family members or an unhealthy lifestyle. Once you've been able to identify the triggers, at that point you can start working to minimize or eliminate the things that are increasing the likelihood of you going into a burnout. Reducing the expectations that you put on yourself can be a really big one. I know that that was for me personally. I would always put so much on my plate and I would have such high expectations for myself, and then I would get really down on myself when I wasn't able to meet those expectations. In my opinion, when a person's in burnout, one of the best things that they can do for themselves is to ask for help. I think a key strategy for this is self-knowledge and advocating for your needs. Once you've been able to identify the most likely triggers for a burnout, you can then either avoid those situations altogether, or you can plan it to where those situations are only on one day, so you're not overloading your day. And when you have those days where you have triggering events, allow yourself the recovery time. So now I want to talk about my personal experience with burnout. Like I said, I just came out of the longest stretch of burnout, but this is something that I've experienced for as long as I can remember. Unfortunately, until recently, I didn't have a word for it, and I had a lot of internalized shame around these situations that I genuinely could not control. The main thing that I experience in burnout, like many other people, is extreme exhaustion, both physically and mentally. I'm talking painfully tired, for what I thought was no real reason. A type of exhaustion and tired that no amount of sleep could touch. I've felt really misunderstood in the past because when I've talked about being too tired to do something or not being able to work a certain amount of hours, I've had a lot of people say, well, nobody wants to work that amount of hours. And from my point, I'm like, no, I physically cannot work that amount of hours. And before I knew that I was autistic, this was something that I was really holding on to and starting to believe that maybe I was just over-exaggerating. I've had many conversations in the past where I have said that I physically cannot work more than 32 hours, and the looks that I got were just like gut-wrenching. I felt like people were judging me and thinking that I was just making it up because I didn't want to work. But I genuinely couldn't do it. If I pushed it more than that, 32 hours was pushing it. But if I went beyond that for more than a week or two, I would be completely wiped out, and the likelihood of experiencing a shutdown or a meltdown was significantly increased. Depending on the severity of my burnout, I can often experience shutdown and physical pain. My shutdowns usually feel like being outside of myself or being outside of my body, and I feel extremely mentally foggy. I deal with chronic pain on my good days, but it is significantly heightened on burnout days. When I'm burned out, I struggle to make myself meals and eat on a regular schedule. I will often be too exhausted to go and look for anything. I just don't have the mental capacity to decide what to eat, and I'll push it to the point where now I have the shakes and I feel faint, and then at that point I'm just reaching for really the quickest carbohydrate or the quickest thing to just stuff in my face to make me feel better. And these quick options are not usually the healthiest foods. This for me is the first alert sign that something is off. I'm a holistic nutritionist. Nutrition and food is one of my greatest passions, special interests, and when I do not physically feel capable of putting any effort into even thinking about food, that is a really good sign to me that something's not right. When I'm in burnout, I feel much more restless and uneasy. My anxiety is significantly worse, and I end up needing to stim more to try to ease the discomfort that's going on in my body. So when I'm in this state of burnout, one of the best things that I can do is to let myself be there. There's a reason that my body is so tired. There's a reason that I need to rest. But in the past, I have often either pushed it and made the situation worse, or I've let myself be there but feel very, very guilty about it. And so simply just allowing myself to be there without feeling guilty is one of the best things that I have been able to do for myself. A few other things that have helped me when I'm in this space is to make sure that I have some healthier options that are in the freezer so that I can still continue to feed myself well without putting thought or effort into it, and overall putting my focus on my own personal well-being. So that's it for this video, friends. Be sure to give it a thumbs up if you liked it, and comment down below if any of this resonated with you or what your burnout looks like. And if none of this resonated with you, I would still encourage you to drop down and look at the comments below, read what other people are saying. I love that we are really starting to create a community. I've seen a lot of you commenting on each other's comments and lifting each other up, and it warms my heart. I love it so much. And I'll see you guys next week.